Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning out there. Welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. I got my good friend Scott Blake here with you, and we'll be with you until 9 o'clock this morning, talking all things high school football in the first hour of the program and then roll over. And I think we got something going on in the second hour that's going to keep our mouths running and keep us going, as Auburn and Alabama have got a lot of storylines around those two programs. Hopefully, if you're an Auburn fan, you'll see some continued progression under Hugh Freeze on the road at Texas A&M this morning. If you're an Alabama fan, you hope you find a quarterback, and you hope you start getting back to the Alabama football we've known for about 20 years.
I know. I just want to win today. If both of them win, great. I want Auburn. I mean, it's just going to be a –
Scott, I think back to 2013.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I knew that season was turning and it was about to get really good was when we went on the road and played at Texas A&M. Trey Mason rushes for about 180 yards. We see what Nick Marshall did. Nick Marshall, I think, had 4 touchdowns total, but rushed for over 100 yards and threw for a couple hundred yards. He was special that day. And after 2012, how bad Auburn played against Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel here at Jordan-Hare, I didn't think we'd see a change as quick as we did, but we saw it then.
We did. Lyndon was at that game in 13, and it was just it was a great time out there. But that whole season was fun. You know, it ended with some weird plays, and we had a lot of fun for that season. Hopefully we're going to turn it right here today, and maybe it'll be okay. But
maybe it will. We definitely will talk about
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock kick. And, hey, Hugh Freeze says he's excited about that, and we've talked a lot about that throughout the week. And points made, if you're on the road, 11 o'clock kick, you don't get quite as inebriated at 6 o'clock kicks. You're at least have a docile crowd that you're going up against.
Right.
And Texas A&M will be rowdy. They do a great job with their home field, so we'll see how Auburn plays, and we'll talk a lot about that in the second hour. We're going to run down some high school scores here in the first hour. The phone lines are always open. If you got thoughts from last night, over the years, we've had a lot of phone calls on Saturday mornings to discuss what you see out there on the road on Friday nights. We can't get to all the games. Brett and I, Scott was with us last night watching Benjamin Russell take on a very good Homewood team, and we'll talk about that. Brett will call in the second segment of the program this morning to discuss his thoughts there, but we can discuss that game, any other games out there that you saw. But I wanted to start maybe with a game that was a spotlight game last night and has been around the state for a while, and that's what's going on with the Hoover Buccaneers. Hoover drops out of the top 10 for the first time in 23 years.
Wow.
This past week. They're off to a start that none of us expect. You know, it's gotten to a point where you almost expect Hoover, if they're not in the championship game, to at least be in the semifinals, matched up with the Thompson team right now. So 23 straight years, what a run, Scott. And but I guess everything has to come to a close at some point.
I guess it does, but they've dominated forever, and now there's a new sheriff in town up there. Thompson and who else?
Well, Thompson up there, Hewitt Trustful's been right outside knocking on the door. I think Vestavia's back.
Yes.
You see an easy win for Vestavia over Hoover last week, and their quarterback Head got going again and rushed the football for over 200 yards. So Vestavia, I think, is back in it. And I was telling Wes Coleman when we were in between breaks last night on the football game, that's a region up there where you don't have to take a giant leap backwards. You can just take not quite as good as we normally are, and you'll look up and you didn't win but 3 or 4 games out of 10.
Right.
That's how good that region, that's how good high school football has become in that area. And I think, Coach Sabb told me this many moons ago when we were probably on our 7th or 8th consecutive year of calling a 6A state championship game with Hoover. And we said, Coach, does it not get, as a director, old to see Hoover back here every year? And he said, no, I tell you what, being an old coach, what it does to me is it brings the level of football up in this state. As long as they're that good, everybody else is chasing them, and you don't have a choice. If you want to get there, you got to keep getting better. And he said Hoover and what they've done for this state, I can't say enough good things about. And, looking back on it, 23 straight years in the top 10, lots and lots of state championships, he was exactly right.
You want to copy you copy what's great. And,
Yeah.
And they've been great forever. And all those 7A schools, I mean, they've got so many kids to pull from, and then they can field a good team most of the time. They can go out there and walk the halls and go, that guy's going to be good. This one, and train them, get them in there when they're 6th grade, and that many kids, and you should be good.
Yeah, you should. And some of these programs out there, they just start them so young. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Bryant Horn, at Lyndon's wedding a couple of weekends ago, actually. And Bryant's coaching the 6th grade group at Mountain Brook. But a lot of the communities like Mountain Brook, Hoover, they'll start them in the 2nd grade, teach them the system that's expected for them to play once they get to the high school level, go out, get great coaches, ex-great high school players, ex-college players like Bryant, bring them in. They don't have kids, so they don't have a dog in the hunt. And they put them out there, and they, put them through the ringer, and by the time they end up in high school, they've pretty much got the basics down of what that program expects. And Hoover did that. I think Rush Probst and many others started that and probably did it better than anyone for a long time.
What a great way to put your kid on a football team and go, hey, your coach is going to be a guy that played at Jack State. And, oh, by the way, his dad's probably one of the most winning coaches around. You know? And he's got – and you don't have to coach as a dad. You got somebody who knows what they're doing.
It makes it a lot easier.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I'm sure that you did your fair share of coaching at the youth level.
But I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, Bryant Horn knows what he's doing.
Let's run down some 7A scores. Let's take your phone calls, 256-234-6221, starting with Auburn High School. They beat Percy Julian last night 48-13. It was Austin over Albertville 56-13. Baker defeats Daphne 33-20. We'll stop there. Baker off to a 5-0 start. Our good friend Justin Mosley, who's from the Mobile area, he said, I don't think y'all realize how big of a deal this is for Baker High School to be off to a start like they are. They've got a Mississippi State signee at quarterback. They got an Auburn signee that everybody's excited to get on the plains at wide receiver. They're putting up a lot of points. Scott, it's been a while since a Mobile team's been one of the top teams in the state. Baker's back in the mix now.
I'm not one that – Baker's not well known. I mean,
not at all.
I know. It's like, where's Baker? But that's great.
Yeah, 33-20. They're 5-0 so far. Bob Jones defeats Huntsville 39-35. Central Phoenix City still off to a great start as they always are. They defeat Jag last night 55-0. It was Davidson over Fairhope, another really good Mobile squad. Defeats Fairhope 42-10. Dothan all over Smith Station 66-0. That Dothan squad's really good. Them and Enterprise, along with Opelika, are going to be in the mix because you got Auburn and Phoenix City that you feel pretty confident are going to make it through. But only 4 teams can come out of that region to make it to the playoffs. That's going to be really tough to see which one does, and Dothan's one of the top teams there in the region, 66-0. Enterprise defeats Rehoboth last night, 52-6. Again, Hewitt-Trussville all over Hoover, 28-7 last night. It was 28-0. It got out of hand early, and Hewitt-Trussville with a big win there. James Clemens defeats Florence 14-7. It was Mary Montgomery over Alma Bryant, 42-7. Opelika, big winners over Prattville, 38-13.
Wow.
It's an Opelika squad that has started the season with a couple of losses. One to Thompson, first football game of the season. Then they've got to take on Phoenix City. They played Phoenix City well, lost 28-18. You and I know what kind of program Opelika has. They're not used to losing 3-4 games a season. But the region and the matchups they've got, I think Opelika's got a pretty good team, Scott.
I'm sure they do. They always do. And they're always big. I mean, we go down there and we play in middle school and high school, and it's kind of like last night. Everybody's bigger than us.
Bows and Joes, don't they?
I know it.
They get them. Yeah. Opelika, Sparkman, 51-0 over Grissom. It was Thompson, 45-0 over Chelsea last night. Tuscaloosa County squeaks one out against Oak Mountain, 24-23. And closing out Class 7A, Vestavia with another win over Spain Park, 26-8. hey, just any highlights to you there in Class 7A?
So what kind of program does Spain Park have right now?
Spain Parks, they're normally on a roller coaster ride. They're not quite as consistent as Hoover has been, but Spain Park's been a really good program that's made it to a state championship game a couple of different times. When they're able to get out of that northern half of the state that's really, really tough in Birmingham. So I think they're very athletic, but it's back to my Hoover point.
Yeah.
You can have a really good team. And if we matched up with them, or if any 6A school matched up with them, they'd beat us by 3 touchdowns.
Right.
But in that region, you can have a very good team and only win 3 or 4 games.
Right.
It's
got
wild.
Such great facilities there. I mean, you ride by and it's a beautiful campus. You would think that they would be pretty consistent year in, year out, but they're up against Hoover.
Yeah, they're up against Hoover, Thompson, Vestavia. They're just Hewitt Trustful.
Compared to us, they're like a small college up there.
That all of those schools have become that.
Yeah.
Their facilities have become that. Yeah. It's keep up with the Joneses. Yep. Really, really tough to throw the money around to keep up with the facilities, because the thing that I think is a little different than you and I when we came through, I think it happened somewhat, but now with the facility upgrades, if you're living in Pelham, Alabama, and you look over at Alabaster, and you say, boy, that's amazing what kind of schools and what the facilities look like, and look at all these coaches. And I'm not knocking Pelham, because Pelham's been really good too.
Right.
But, I'm just giving them as an example. It's an easy move.
Yeah.
You move 6 miles, you're in the Thompson, you're in the Alabaster school system. And so keeping up with we were just talking about Benjamin Russell building a new high school and how that's going before we came on air this morning. And, families find those new
they do.
lush-looking systems, and there's a bunch of them up in Birmingham.
Shiny sales. If you got something that's good and pretty and shiny, they'll flock to it.
There's a lot of them selling up there. And
they're all public schools, too. It's amazing how all these public schooose how well they're all doing as far as that type of thing.
Several of them, like Hewitt Trustful, went from the county system to the city system. And once those dollars didn't have to be dispersed amongst 7 or 8 different schools,
right,
and they could make the decisions on exactly what they want, like we have the ability to here in Elliott City. And
right,
you being in the banking and mortgage business, you kind of know how that works. And so there was a lot of funding that was there, and once they got a hold of it, they threw it where I guess they thought it was most important, and that was their kids. So some impressive facilities and some impressive football teams, and we've gotten through 7A. When we come back, we'll have Brett Pritchard on. We'll talk about the game Scott and I watched last night as Homewood defeated Benjamin Russell 41-21. Homewood now 2-3 on the season, and Benjamin Russell now 2-2 on the season. And we'll discuss that here in the next segment.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin, comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is serving up all your favorites: shrimp and grits, po' boys, tacos, seafood platters, and so much more. Don't miss out on our famous loaded fried green tomatoes. Wharf Casual Seafood is located on Highway 280 next to Regions Bank.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got our good friend Brett Pritchard, play-by-play for Benjamin Russell High School, on the phone with us. A tough game last night as Homewood brought a strong team, a very good on-the-line team squad over here, and defeat Benjamin Russell for homecoming 41-21. Brett, glad to have you. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, guys, good morning. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, no other way to spin it, and I've seen a lot of people post, why would you schedule homecoming or Homewood for homecoming? And it just happened to be where the schedule fell. It's not like the staff went down through there and said, we'll pick that team. It just happens to be, where it falls on the schedule and the way things work out. We've got a Thursday game a little bit later on in the season, and you got senior night, so you only have select games that you can work with, but Homewood, is a good football program, always has been, and it's a long history with us and good football games dating back to the 2000 and 2001 state championship games, but this team came in 1-3, and I'll be honest with you, the common denominator between the two losses for Benjamin Russell and the two wins are how the games get started. The Wetumpka game and the Calera game, both fast starts for the team, and they kind of got in a rhythm and a groove, and it kind of, just took off from there. On the two losses, it was right the opposite. It's slow starts, no rhythm on offense, no consistency, 3 and outs, putting your defense back on the field. And, we knew the defense was going to have some help this year. And I've said it, and you said it, Randy. Been proud of the defense to this point this year. I mean, they've got 8 new starters, and they're starting freshmen on the defensive front in 6A football. So the bell cow of this team was offense. It was preached by Coach Grider and his staff in the off season and all the different the meetings and functions that we were part of, and he was, and rightfully so. I mean, you look at the talent we have on that side of the football, and you said it 100 times. We have maybe the best skill set group in the state, and that's including a lot of these top 7A teams. Collectively as a whole, when you look down and see the guys we have on offense, it's hard to argue that point. And the offense hasn't really gotten in sync. I thought Gabe Benton threw the ball really well last night. I thought he was on target. He carried his momentum over from Calera. And when you got a quarterback like that and you got receivers like we have, and I thought the offensive line did a good job. But for whatever reason, 3 and outs to start and having to punt the football and give it back to a team that likes to run the football with a big offensive line, it's a recipe for disaster because our defense again is young. They're still learning. We're only 4 games into the season, so they've got to have help from our offense. Our offense, we knew, had to carry us this year, and so far it hadn't been able to do it. in the Wetumpka game, we took advantage of 3 special teams plays that put us in short field, and we were able to score the football. And we did put 40 points on the board, but, Coach Grider and I talked about it in the locker room the next week. We didn't sustain a drive in that game. It was all big plays or giving us the ball in a short field. You look at Clay Central. We weren't able to sustain a drive at all that night. Again, we took advantage and made some opportunistic plays, and we had a chance to really get back in that game. Had the momentum, only down 1 score in the third. But, I think this all stems back to, and this is nothing new that the coaches don't know about. I mean, for whatever reason, if we get off to a slow start offensively, it just kind of sets the theme for the rest of the game. And, you looked up on the scoreboard last night, and you were down 20-0, and then it became 27-0, and you're able to get a score, and I think it was 34-7 at half, and then we came out and scored on a Malcolm Simmons punt where he just basically took the ball and said, look, we got to have a play. I'm going to go make a play. I mean, that's the kind of guy that he is. I mean, he's electrifying. He's, one of the top players in the state for a reason. He showed everybody, why he's one of those top players, and took it 80 yards for a touchdown and got us back within 3 scores, Randy, with 10-20 on the clock. So, I mean, we're sitting there at a three-score game with basically 2 full quarters left to go, and it's exactly what we needed to do to get back in the game. But offense just could not ever really get in rhythm, and the defense never stopped Homewood. I mean, the first stop we had was with 4.5 minutes to go in the game, and again, I'm not putting that all on them. Offense plays off defense, defense plays off offense, and when one's kind of out of sync early, it kind of throws the whole thing out of sync. But that's basically a summation, and I know we have our thoughts on everything, but you got a dynamic talent in Malcolm Simmons, and I had several guys texting me last night from On 3 at Auburn, and some other guys that were there to watch, and just raving about what Malcolm Simmons does with the football. And Coach Grider told me in the locker room, he said, Malcolm Simmons has got to touch the ball more. He said Chris Foster's got to touch the ball more for us to have, a chance to win these football games. And I think they'll go back and look at the film and see that, when you only touch the ball 3 times, if you're Malcolm Simmons and you score twice, you got to increase those touches to give your team a chance.
Well, I think the first offensive touch that he had in the football game that went down in the book was the fake punt in the second half. And so, yeah, the beauty of him is he's dynamic with the football. You don't necessarily just have to get him behind the secondary to make a big play. You can just snap it to him, and he'll go make a big play out of it. So that was a beautiful run that he traversed the entire field, it felt like, to get it to the end zone. Got a couple of blocks early on that helped, but it was single-handedly one of the best runs that we've seen on that field, and he does it week in and week out, Brett. Let's just stick with that a second. He shows the reason that so many people want him, and you and I as Auburn fans are glad that he's heading to the Plains. He's a dynamic player.
He really is. Football speed and straight ahead speed are 2 totally different things, and then that instinct to be able to just know where to go with the football, he's got that. And again, he showed, and I said it on the broadcast last night, most players, even really good players, aren't going to run that back. They, a talented guy may have gotten a first down there, maybe gotten it to midfield, but when everything bogged down, he probably would have been tackled. But Malcolm refuses. He is searching constantly for a very small little tiny opening somewhere he can squirt through and make another 20 yards. And then if it closes down again, he's looking again to try to figure out a way to weave his way out of traffic. And his vision is just unbelievable. And, Randy, he did it at Calera on a punt return. He did it right here last night against Homewood on that punt that he just basically pulled it down and said, look, I've got the first down, but, buddy, it's going to be tough to get me down to the ground when I get in the secondary. And, that's just the playmaker he is. I don't know what the percentage is, but I know he was 2 out of 3 last night touching the football, scoring scoring touchdowns. So it doesn't take a math genius to figure out the percentage there. And I think his touches are pretty high as far as his ratio to touches per score. And, you always talk about that stat with Tyree Gray, 1 out of every 4 times he crossed the line of scrimmage, he scored a touchdown. Well, Malcolm Simmons' stats are just as astonishing, and that's the kind of player he is. And, this is not rocket science, and I know Coach Grider understands this, and Coach Krager does too. They see him every day. Malcolm Simmons is a winner, and he's a game changer. And, you've got to get the ball in the hands of guys like that to give yourself a chance. And, they don't come around very often. And when you have them, you got to utilize them. And, I know the offensive staff and this coach staff will go back to the drawing board to see what they can do to increase touches for all these guys. Chris Foster, too. Chris Foster is just as dynamic in the open field as Malcolm is. And, to have both of those guys, on offense, you just got to get them the football somehow, some way, whether, they're going in motion, whether it's, reverse screens, just whatever you can do to try to get an advantage on one side of the field or the other to get them the ball in the open field. That's what you got to do.
I think he would have scored on another play if he hadn't got held on that long pass play across the middle. It looked like the guy held his right arm, and he made his case to him, but then he scored right after that on the punt. The next play is when he scored.
He's fun to watch even when it doesn't work out. And, you'll see secondary players just kind of give in and say, I've got to do something here. Yeah. Well, Brett, give us a highlight on what to expect moving forward, next games for Benjamin Russell, and about halfway through the season here in high school football.
Yeah, it goes by fast. Got Smith Station on the road, be out of the region, so it's a 7A team. And again, when you move up classifications, you got to deal with size and numbers. And Smith Station's a team we played the last 3 or 4 years, and we've gotten the better of them most of the time. And but we're going to have to play well. They score points. I know they didn't last night against Dothan. They got beat pretty badly, but they're in the SEC West region of high school football. I mean, it's brutal, and they have to deal with that. But they're a 7A team, and they've got 7A athletes. So we've got to go over and play well. And again, defense has got to figure out a way to get some stops, but the offense has got to figure out ways to sustain drives. Again, you saw it kind of work in harmony at Calera. Offense was clicking on all cylinders, and it just fueled that defense to go out, and it just kind of played off each other. Defense played well and forced Calera off the field basically 3 and outs the rest of the night after that first drive. So I think working on chemistry and that cohesiveness and trying to get better, this is still a very talented football team, I think, with a very bright future this year. They're 2-2. They're 1-1 in the region. They have the talent and the ability to win this region if somebody can help us out with Homewood. But, again, it starts, I think, this week, and I think that'll probably be the message Coach Grider has to the team is, you just got to erase everything to this point and kind of start fresh. And, you just got to make plays when you have an opportunity to make plays and take it one game at a time.
11 o'clock kick, Brett. Your thoughts before we let you go on Auburn today?
Our good friend David Jones is over there. He said, by the way, he probably will try to call you guys at the 8 o'clock hour a little after that. They were en route across campus when he called me this morning, and but basically he said that he talked to Brent Bedsole at the hotel, and everybody's available to play except obviously Keontae Scott and Austin Keys, but got Donovan Kaufman back. Nehemiah Pritchett will be in the lineup hopefully today for the first time as a preseason All-SEC guy that'll help that secondary. I think, Randy, you and I talked about it. We got to run the football to have a chance to win this game, not just Peyton Thorne running. We got to have a running back step up, whoever that is, or a combination of the two. And I think they've got to get about 150 yards to give ourselves a chance to win this football game. But this is not a world beater Texas A&M team by any stretch. And, I think the pressure's on Jimbo Fisher and that staff to win this game as much, maybe or more than it is Auburn's, because they're the ones with the top-ranked recruiting classes the last couple of years and, the high expectations with the pay and everything like that. Hugh Freeze is brand new, and he had to flip a roster, so there's not near as much pressure there. But they've got Connor Weigman. He's a good quarterback, and they like to throw the football a lot, so that's going to test our secondary. And but I think it's going to be determined on the offensive side of the football for us. Can we move the ball? Can we sustain drives? And can Peyton Thorne progress off of that performance against Sanford? Can he continue to build? If he does, and he looks comfortable in there, I think it'll come down to the end, and I think Auburn will have a chance to win the game.
Thank you, Brett. Have a great Saturday. War Eagle to you.
All right, guys. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, we're up against a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more high school football, run down some more scores.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindawa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Scott, let's run down some 6A scores. It's Athens over May Jemison, 55-35. Baldwin County defeats Blount, 20-13. Carver Montgomery defeats Stanhope, 20-6 last night. Good win for Chilton County as they took on Calera, 137-3. Wow. So great defensive play by Chilton County. Clay Chalkville, one of the top teams in Class 6A, defeats Centerpoint, 39-14. Coleman defeats Lee Huntsville 40-7. It was Helena over Pelham in a kind of a rival game right there beside one another, and Helena wins by 21 points. Jordan Washington had over 300 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns last night. They've got one of the top players in the state at running back at Helena, and they always have a great offensive line. So it's a good win for Helena, 35-14 over Pelham. Hueytown defeated Bessemer City 47-0 last night. Oxford continues to play well, defeats Pinson Valley 40-6. Parker all over Gardendale 41-22. Mountain Brook with their third consecutive shutout last night as they defeated Jackson Olin 49-0. Pike Road over Eufaula 38-0. Saraland continues to be the top team in Class 6A until somebody knocks them off. They defeat Robertsdale 66-0 last night. Spanish Fort got back on the winning side, defeating Theodore 8-3 and closing things out in Class 6A. Wetumpka over Russell County 52-36. Your thoughts, Class 6A?
Well, what was it, 8-3 score?
8-3 Spanish Fort over Theodore last night.
Who'd ever thought Spanish Fort could only score 8 points?
You know, and Spanish Fort last week just got drummed.
Wow.
Like 49-7 to Saraland. So that's how much that dynamics flipped down in South Alabama. And, you know, Helena's got a good squad. I'm wondering if Helena's got one that, you know, they always – from time to time, they'll put a 9-1, 10-0 type team together in the regular season. They'll get to the playoffs and things don't work out and go in their favor in the playoffs. They're good this year.
When do we play? When do we play them? Or do we?
Last game of the season, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've got a while before we see Helena, and boy, we better improve before we play them.
Is it here or there? I can't remember.
It's here this year.
Okay, good.
Moving down into Class 5A, BC Rain over Williamson 13-2. Central Clay defeats Handley 31-6 last night. This is a Central Clay team that you didn't know a lot of the names.
Right.
They lose some names, like Terry Heflin moves on from last year's squad, and LaDamian Boyd was one of our players of the week this past week. He had 16 carries against Elmore County for 5 touchdowns and 254 yards rushing. Coach Horn, Chase, and Danny can coach them up, and they can find running backs and coach up offensive line. It's a very big offensive line for Central Clay, but I was as impressed with their defensive play as I was their offensive play against us. They got a linebacker that I thought made a ton of tackles against us. Very good squad. There's not going to be many in 5A compete with Central Clay this year.
No, they're good. I mean, Danny will get there and he'll. How's your team looking? Well, he'll scratch his head. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got nothing. He's hilarious, but he always has something.
Yeah,
he can coach him up.
He can coach him up, and I think Central Clay's ranked 2nd or 3rd in Class 5A. Ramsey's got a really good squad in 5A, and they'll have a lot to say with who ends up winning that one. Ramsey defeats Fairfield last night 28-15, closing out 5A with a few more scores. Gulf Shores, I think they're the number 2 squad in 5A. They defeated LaFleur 44-0 last night. It was Gunnersville over Boaz 35-14. Moody defeated Lincoln 28-3 last night. Scottsboro over Arab 28-14. Tallahassee gets off the schneid, and they defeat Marbury last night 50-34, and Winona over Jasper 33-0. If you got any scores out there, if you're out on Friday night games, maybe even a Thursday night game, call us in, give us your thoughts, 256-234-6221. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later. How are you? Tell me everything.
Everything's great. I love it here.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Scott, I've always liked Class 4A. It just seems like a classification that from top to bottom you'll get different teams that are competing for championships, and new ones kind of come in and other ones go out. So I don't know from an enrollment standpoint why that is, but Class 4A is always one of my favorites. And this year's much the same. Andalusia is probably the class of Class 4A as they're looking for back-to-back state championships. They easily defeat Montgomery Academy last night, who's normally a pretty good squad in Class 3A, 63-19. It was Bibb County, who's now 5-0 on the season, defeating Sipsey Valley 42-21. Brooks over Central Florence 42-28. Cherokee County, they had a running back in Conejo that had 420 yards rushing the week before. I think it's the first one maybe in this decade that's rushed for over 400 yards in a game.
Well, back up to Brooks real quick.
Yeah.
Their alumni,
okay,
or alum, that's the proper word, Mr. Stutz is supposed to play today, isn't he? Cameron.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
We need him to.
Yeah, he's supposed to start today. But he played up there at Brooks when my niece was in high school, and I got to see him play a couple of times.
Brooks is a solid program all the way around.
They are.
Really good in baseball.
Yeah.
Really good in basketball. I've called them in Final Fours in basketball a few times, and didn't know anything about that school system.
They're just out in the middle of basically a pasture. I mean, it's a beautiful campus out there, all inclusive. And first time I ever went up there to a football game, I'm on the back row watching my niece. She was a majorette. And I hear cows. There are cows right behind us.
Is that right?
In the pasture right beside. It was pretty cool. But Cameron, when I watched him play, he was a giant at that 4A school. You know, and he's huge.
And he still plays physical.
Yeah,
that's what I love about Cameron Stutz.
Right.
He brings a physicality to the game, and we'll talk about that in the second hour. But a good point there. Cherokee County though. They did something right again. They win over Hansville 55-0. It was Corner over Dora 21-14. I think Corner's got one of their better squads in a long time right now. Montgomery Catholic 49-0 over Geneva. It was Aniana over Fultondale 37-28. T.R. Miller defeats Orange Beach 27-14 last night. And Westminster Christian defeats Randolph 35-34. If you want any other scores in Class 4A, let us know. Moving down into Class 3A, it was Childersburg over Sachs, 42-31. Flomaton defeats Excel, 27-20. Hoax Bluff over Westbrook Christian, 47-21. Mobile Christian defeats Monroe County, 57-6 last night. It was Ohatchee over Piedmont. That's a little bit of a shock. Anytime you see Piedmont lose a football game, you get semi-shocked. They defeat Piedmont, Ohatchee that is, 38-21. Plainview, good win over Glencoe, 35-7 last night. Thomasville defeats Cottage Hill, 44-0. Winfield over Midfield, 44-18. And Walter Welborn defeated Dayville last night, 21-12. So Dayville 2-2 now on the season. After that season last year where they went 9-0 in the regular season and lost in the second round of the playoffs, they had one of their better squads in quite some time. Feels like a competitive squad at Dayville, but maybe not up to the standard we saw last year.
Yeah. Dayville's one of those schools, it's like all the small schools. One year they're up, one year they're down. It's just hard to be consistent when you have that small pool of kids to pull from.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the big boys are always so good, because they got so many kids.
And, you know, you got move-ins, you got things like that in some of the bigger communities. But, you know, out here in the boonies like we are in Elliott City and Dayville, you get what you get, Scott.
That's all you have.
You better take advantage of what you got and build something out of it. But Dayville, very competitive again. Talking about programs that are on the uptick and they've got a squad and they've got a class. You know, I'm coaching youth football, and one of my youth football coaches was a former quarterback at B.B. Comer High School. And so I was talking to him about B.B. Comer. I said, yeah, my gosh, what is going on at B.B. Comer? He said, Randy, we've known it since that group was kids, that they were going to be a special group. And now they are. And this may be the most special group that B.B. Comer's had come through. They haven't won a state championship yet in school history. I had someone call in on Sports Blitz a couple of weeks ago and tell me I'm wrong with that. Well, call the Historical Society because go to AHSFHS.org, and I don't see any state titles claimed by B.B. Comer there. And if I'm off, then let them know. And I checked on the 2 years that they gave me, and it was quite a few losses in those 2 years for B.B. Comer. So B.B. Comer looking for their first state title in school history, and they win easily last night, 36-0 over Vincent. They're close to us. Would like to see B.B. Comer get over the snide.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys in Sylacauga that went to Sylacauga High School, and they're all over there cheering for B.B. Comer because it's just they're like family. You know, they've got kids over there. They know the kids, know the parents, and they're the community's rallying around them right now for sure.
Sylacauga, we didn't bring up their score, but Sylacauga losing again last night. I think that's 16 straight losses for Sylacauga, Scott.
Jeez, that's awful.
You just never expect that. Living in Elliott City and being as close to Sylacauga and knowing how important athletics are to Sylacauga and that community.
Their basketball program was in the championship game a 3 years ago, weren't they?
And they always are. They've got a solid basketball program.
So I don't understand the football part of it. They probably should combine those two schools and make one good school there.
Well, if it hasn't happened so far, it probably won't. It's kind of odd how that ends up working out. But Sylacauga loses again last night, and I think that's 16 straight losses. But finishing up Class 2A, it was Fife over Section, 63-0. Highland Home's got one of the best teams in the state. Them in Reeltown, watch out for those two teams. Highland Home defeats Horseshoe Bend last night, 49-10. Looking down at Reeltown easy winners over Barber County, 47-8. Both those schools close to us. I think Central Coosa played well last night. They did. They lost to Thorsby 20-14, but after a couple of bad losses for Central Coosa, they come back and they had a lead at halftime and couldn't hold on to that, but really played well against a good Thorsby team. So hopefully Central Coosa is getting things turned around. They're playing well over there, and they can get back on the winning side. They're 2-3 in the early part of the season. I think Horseshoe Bend's still winless here in the early going of the season, and Reeltown's undefeated, one of the best teams, and if not the best team in Tallapoosa County. Go ahead and take a break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
It's truck season at Sarah Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at Sarah Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Nissan, and Sarah Chevrolet.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com. You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Lewis Pest Control is now serving Alexander City and the entire Lake Martin area. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Lewis has environmentally safe products for all your pest control needs. Lewis Pest Control.
Lay your best to rest. Call the best. Lewis Pest Control.
Let Riverbank and Trust open doors for you. Whether you're purchasing land, a lot by the lake, or building or buying a home, begin with Tallapoosa County's loan experts. They'll guide you through the entire process, providing local decision-making, prompt responses, and the best real estate loan solutions for your unique needs. And in most cases, Riverbank and Trust can close your loan in 30 days or less, and they'll walk by your side every step of the way. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. We invite you to experience it for yourself.
We're going to go ahead and start the college portion of the program a little bit early this morning. When we move into the second hour of the program, Luke Robinson will call in and highlight Alabama, and I don't know if he's highlighting it. I've seen some of Luke's tweets out there, and I don't know if you call it X's now or tweets or what you call it, but Alabama fans are really questioning some of the decisions that are going on there, and he'll talk a lot about that. If you want to talk some more high school sports, if you got opinions on what we said there in the first hour, if you were out and about watching high school games last night or Thursday night, call in 256-234-6221. But, Scott, we're going to get about 10 minutes here on Auburn. I want to get some quick thoughts, just some questions that I'll throw at you, and give me some of your thoughts. The most impressive freshman so far, and doesn't necessarily have to be a freshman, maybe just a new name that you've seen out there on the field that's really impressed you for Auburn this year.
So you should have told me you're going to do that, because I told you in the break, I said I'm awful with names.
Yeah.
But, gosh, I'm stumped right now.
I tell you, the one that has really helped the most that I thought was such a need position for Auburn, and we need him to play even more impressively today, and I think Brett brought it up a couple of segments ago, is Jeremiah Cobb. And, you know, Cobb is a running back that I don't think a lot of us, because you got Jarquez Hunter and you got Austin coming back, I don't think a lot of us necessarily thought that he would have to be thrown in. And expected big number of carries and minutes out of, and I'll go to that phone line here in just a second. But Cobb, to me, looks like he's got a burst that we need in the backfield.
Right. He just looks the part. He's the name Cobb sounds like a running back.
He does. You remember the old Tennessee, Reggie Cobb.
Reggie Cobb. See, he's got to be good with a name like that. But yeah, he's been fun to watch. He or Hunter, they gotta step up today.
When Reggie Cobb's name comes up, you think of the hit by Cheatham on Reggie Cobb.
Carlos Cheatham.
Carlos Cheatham's hit on Reggie Cobb will forever be in Auburn lore. For those that haven't seen it, go on YouTube, and I'm sure it's out there. Caller, you're on Sports Blitz.
How's it going, guys?
We're good, Michael. Glad to have you on the phone.
Yeah, I saw Dad on the show this morning. I was like, well, I probably need to call and mess with him.
Hey, help us out, Michael.
Help me out.
We can take it this morning. Did you see any high school games? Did you make it to Benjamin Russell? Or give us your update, your thoughts on high school football so far.
Well, I didn't make it to any games last night. I was in Birmingham. In Birmingham this morning, but I heard you guys talking about the Birmingham region earlier, and heard y'all mention Bryant's name. And it's funny, I ate lunch with him yesterday downtown Mountain Brook, and we were just sitting there, and a parent walked up and said, "Are you Bryant Horn?" He was like, "Yes, ma'am." He said, "You coached my little league, my son's little league football team last year, and just how much we appreciate you and what you're doing." So it's kind of cool to see that Bryant making an impact at the 6th grade level in Mountain Brook.
Well, we talked about that, Michael. There's a lot of programs out there, and I think Hoover, I don't want to say they started it, because there's always been programs that care a lot about their youth football and kind of start them on a certain level, maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, and then they run them on up the gamut. But Rush Propst at Hoover was the first one that I remember hearing from everyone about. Look, this is the way we do it. We get them out there. We teach them the process. By the time we get them to middle school, they're kind of already ingrained in them, the same terminology. And you've coached a lot of football, Michael, and just to kind of speak to that, especially at the offensive and defensive lines. If you can talk the same lingo, it helps out, doesn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. It helps it helps just playing with those guys from middle school all the way up to high school, and just working together, knowing each other's tendencies. It just helps growing up playing together. But I was also going to talk about the Auburn game a little bit. I'm a little nervous about this one today.
What parts of it, Michael, worry you? We're just starting up on it, too, and giving our opinions on it. But, I'll start with it, and I'll get your thoughts being an old offensive lineman. I really feel like Auburn's got to find not only Peyton Thorne running the football, but we got to find a running back that we can hang our hat on and expect that guy to go out there and get 20 touches and 100-plus yards. That's the need that I'm hoping to see today.
Yeah, me too. And I've heard you actually speak about Jarquez Hunter looking a step slow, which I totally agree. So I think we need 22 to have a good ball game, and it does start up front. But the thing I'm worried about is our defensive pass rush. I got all the faith in the world in our secondary, but we can't cover people for 7 seconds all game long. So we got to have some pressure on the quarterback, and I did not see that against Sanford. I don't know if that was something we were just kind of hiding, waiting for this week, but I don't know. I think we got to get after the quarterback a little bit.
We do. I'm hoping Keldrick Falks continues to get a few more snaps. We had 2 sacks against Sanford last week. One came from a defensive tackle, the other late in the ball game with Riley, and he's a stand-up linebacker, so I don't know that you can consider that coming off the edge. And Falk, to me, looks like the ceiling's the highest there, but I look down at his snap count, Michael, and it's normally like 14 or 15 snaps a game. So I don't know if they're just sticking his toes in the water, see how he does. But maybe here on the road we'll see a little bit more of him this morning.
Maybe so. We need him to play well. And if y'all can remember McLeod, I think Jalen McLeod,
yes.
He came from App State. They played A&M at Kyle Field last year, and he had a heck of a game and kind of put him on the map. And I think he's gotten a little healthy, and I think we're going to see him a lot today, and hopefully he'll have a game like he did last year when he was at App State.
Well, we'll have him back, hopefully Nehemiah Pritchett back. Pritchett has dressed, is my understanding, the last couple of weeks, but hasn't made it out on the field yet. Maybe they're holding him off, thinking they can get by and get them a little bit more healthy. But the secondary already, I agree with you. I think the secondary is really good. It's just a matter of getting some pressure up front to give the secondary even more chances. Jalen Simpson's been a star, 3 interceptions in the early part of the season. If he continues this, he'll be an all-SEC performer this year. And so I'm with you. Hopefully we can find us a running back to get 100-plus yards, and a couple of sacks from the edge would be keys to me too, Michael.
Yep, that would help us out a lot. But anyways, I'm looking forward to it and enjoy listening to you guys this morning. I'll let y'all have it, and War Eagle.
War Eagle to you.
ya.
Thank you, Michael. Michael Blake on the phone with us this morning. Great offensive lineman. Wish we could have a few more of him come through here. And but Michael does make mention that a couple of the concerns that I have feel like they're concerns to everyone, aren't they, Scott?
Exactly.
Just got to find some edge rushers. Got to find some new guys that you can throw in there, and because we had 2 good ones last year. You know, you can say what you want, but Wooden and Hall and Leota and keep going down the list. Auburn had some deficiencies on that football team last year, but I didn't think the edges were some of those. And so you have to replace them, and got some new faces, and we're 3-0, gotten off to probably as good a start as you can ask for, and we'll see if we can continue that stretch today. And go ahead and take another break. We'll come back. We'll welcome Luke Robinson on the phone with us. We'll talk a little Alabama football and get his thoughts on their game and thoughts from this past weekend's loss. Or excuse me, it felt like a loss. Yeah, but it was a win. More Saturday Sports Countdown coming right after this.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling in to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful new Chevrolet Silverado 4-wheel drive crew cabs discounted up to $9,500 off. The exciting 24 Chevrolet Equinox as low as $369 per month. The popular Chevy Traverse discounted up to $6,000 off.
Get your best price every day at Glenn Smith in Opelika, on the lot or online at glennsmith.com. Get ready to smile.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full-service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Jimmy Goree at Goree's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Goree's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Goree's Furniture.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got our good friend Luke Robinson on the phone with us. And, Luke, I actually stuck my foot in my mouth and I said we'll discuss Alabama's loss last week when you come on. It was one of those games where you left it, and even though Alabama won, you're so used to them dominating everyone that it felt like a loss a little bit to us.
Well, it felt like a loss to me. Look, I've been around a lot of Alabama games these last 15 years where a 30-point win can feel like a loss. I mean, it's just the expectation. We've come to know that we're going to beat the brakes off of teams we're supposed to beat the brakes off of, and we didn't do it. And it dawned on me last night that all these things have a shelf life. All these dynasties and reigns have a shelf life, right? I mean, it feels like it's going to go on forever. And even though I've been saying I know it's not going to go on forever, sometimes you don't know you're in the decline when you're in the decline. It felt like we were in the decline last week, and I'm not saying officially it is yet, because you need to have a few bad games in a row, more than just 1.5. But yeah, it isn't pretty right now. The team seems pretty discombobulated. Maybe the team just doesn't have the it factor. I mean, Alabama teams for years and years and years have had the it factor. Like, they're not scared of anybody. In fact, they do most of the intimidating. And even if they do lose a game in the year somewhere, they always make up for it by winning the SEC or winning the national championship. And today will go a long way to determine if this team is even going to have that opportunity.
Luke, tell me the dynamic between Tommy Rees, the coach, new offensive coordinator there, Nick Saban. Is there some inner turmoil? There's a sense that not all things are well inside that coaching staff. Am I overlooking at that?
No, I don't think. I think it feels like there are some things that aren't well, and part of it to me might be, and again, this is just a theory, that Tommy Rees was not super fired up about playing Jalen Milroe. Like, that's not who he really wanted to play quarterback. But the downside is he didn't have somebody on the roster necessarily that he trusted over Milroe. So at the time, they went and got Tyler Buchner, who was probably the best available. He wasn't the best quarterback that was in the portal for the year, but he was probably the best available quarterback. And then, of course, that was just an abysmal performance by him. And I hate to pick on the kid, but man, it looked like he shouldn't be playing high-level football at what I saw against South Florida. It just was not good. And so I think what Saban has been saying all along is, look, yeah, Jalen Milroe is not Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts. He's not Jake Coker. He's not John David Phillips or Greg McElroy or A.J. McCarron. He's none of those guys. He's not even close, really. I mean, if you made a list of Alabama starting quarterbacks over the last X amount of years, my guess is Jalen Milroe would be at the bottom of that list. But he's the best chance Alabama has to win. Now, normally you would say a quarterback just needs to come in there and sort of take care of business and not screw it up. But Alabama also needs a quarterback who can be a little bit more dynamic now. I mean, they don't have the same type of defense they've had in the past. You know, they still got some dudes. I mean, they got some really good players who will be very high draft picks. But they don't have any – they got dudes. They don't have necessarily any dogs, and there is a difference.
Luke, I'm surprised. You tell me, because I don't keep up with recruiting and players that are rolling in and out on the offensive line. But Alabama has to be recruiting as good as anyone on the offensive line. Am I wrong by saying that? Am I wrong to be surprised that Alabama's struggling on the offensive line a little more than I should expect?
No, I think that they should be playing better. They obviously aren't playing well. I mean, that's just clear as day. I mean, there's no sugarcoating that. I think Caden Proctor eventually will be fine. Right now, he's too big and really too slow, and he's just not getting it yet. He's only a true freshman, though, and I think people are going to brand him as, hey, he's no good after 3 college games, which is unfair. But he was thrown to the wolves, and he has not performed well. J.C. Latham has been fine. He hadn't been All-American. Now, he may be an All-American when all's said and done, because if you play offensive line for Alabama and you're the best offensive lineman for Alabama in this era, chances are you're going to get some votes for All-American, whether it's right or wrong. Tyler Booker missed last week. That certainly hurt. And he should be back this week, but he shouldn't make that big of a difference. I mean, none of these guys are Barrett Jones or DJ Fluker. Chance Warmack. I mean, none of these guys are of that kind. Jonah Williams, of that caliber. So, again, I think the thing that's making some fans a little upset is the fact that Tyler Booker, after the last game, was like, yeah, we're pissed off. Well, and I even saw Courtney Upshaw make a video about this for social media. Said, don't tell us about it. Just go do it. I mean, just quit saying how mad you are. Quit telling us how upset you are, that you're disrespected, blah, blah, blah. Everybody says all that crap. Go out there and do it. That's how you win people over. And, again, a great place to start would be today if they have it in them.
Hey, I was kind of listening to Feinbaum one day this week, and he was throwing a little scuttlebug on Kevin Steele and Saban. Are they button heads already or something? You know, I don't know that. He kind of mentioned that one afternoon this week.
Well, look, I think everywhere he's ever been, Kevin Steele has butted heads with people.
Exactly.
He's not exactly the friendliest of coaches, it seems like. Everywhere he's been, it seems like he has left some sort of disagreement,
a bad taste,
his wake.
Yep.
And, I'm talking about at Auburn, talking about at Bama, at Clemson, wherever. But I think one of the reasons Alabama hired him is because they wanted to be more aggressive. I mean, Pete Golding seemed to be a little bit more lax in his approach, and lax in terms of his style, not lax in terms of his work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just trying this out. Well, the problem with that is when you bring in new coordinators, you never know how they're going to jive with all the players you already have on the field that somebody else recruited, and that may not work out well. And it's a new generation, you know. Sometimes it's tough for guys 65 and older to jive with this younger generation. That's always been true, but it's never been more true than it is now.
Right.
And so, so there is some kind of disconnect. I wouldn't be shocked at all if there were some kind of disconnect between Saban and all the coaches, you know, because Alabama's not doing as well as they should be. I wouldn't be surprised if Saban's upset at everybody. Now, he's painting a pretty picture publicly, and I guess that's what you should do, even though Saban's never been one to necessarily do that when it's not true. I think he's trying to figure out his way, navigate his way through this right now. And if Alabama can get straight, I mean, they have the talent to beat anybody, especially this year. It's not a great year. It's especially not a great year for the SEC. I mean, this league's already taken its lumps against Florida State and Texas and just about every other team they've played. So we were lucky to beat Arizona in overtime. Mississippi State was. So I think that if you're going to have a year where you take a step back, you want to do it in a year when everybody else is taking a step back, and even Georgia has certainly shown some flaws. So I feel like they got to win today, though. And I just can't get the vision of Alabama's losing out of my head today. I mean, I'm going to predict Alabama to win 31-30 because I've rarely picked Alabama to lose these last 15 years, and I'm usually right. So especially when it's at home, et cetera, et cetera. But, man, it's not going to shock me at all if Ole Miss pulls off the upset. I just don't know what kind of mental state this squad is in. And, again, if they can, persevere and if they can trudge through this and have a season where they go something like 10-2 and just keep that 10-win streak alive, I mean, that's a pretty incredible streak. They've already lost some other streaks, like losing the non-conference games, losing at home in September, being in the top 10, being in the top 3, all these other things. They've lost a lot of these streaks. So I want to maintain some of them. And then if they can just hold on till next year when Alabama will bring in somebody like a Julian Sayin, who's the best quarterback in the country, even as a true freshman, I think he can come in and play right away.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, before we let you go, just break down the matchups today. Those of us that have kind of watched Ole Miss from the side, give us some of the matchups that you see that are pro-Alabama and some that may be against them today.
Well, I think Jackson Dart has been sacked about 5 times this year, if I remember seeing that. So Alabama's going to have an opportunity to get some sacks because they haven't played a defensive line as good as Alabama's. But Jackson Dart is also their leading rusher, so you got to be careful about that. I mean, over Quinshon Judkins, who's been battling a little bit of an injury and has also just hadn't been the same. He's had somewhat of a sophomore slump. I mean, he could certainly break out of that today, but that is a dangerous team, both in terms of getting the ball out quickly. They can throw it deep. I mean, Lane Kiffin is probably the most creative play caller in the country, and he's a lot of fun to watch. So they're going to be dangerous. And I think what Alabama's going to need to do is don't do things they can't do. First of all, football, I mean that in a literal and figurative sense. Like, don't turn the ball over. That seems rudimentary. But also, don't worry about trying to get Jalen Milroe to his third read. Do the Jalen Hurts method of, is Calvin Ridley open? Oh, he's not open? Okay, I'm going to run it. That'll work pretty well. Is Jermaine Burton open? Oh, he's not open? Okay, I'm taking off. Just do that the entire game, and I think Alabama will be fine. I think where they got in a little bit of trouble was almost, especially against Texas, forcing him, or at least conditioning him, to believe, okay, go through your read progression. Well, he's not that kind of quarterback. And, again, yeah, if he were going to be a pro quarterback, you'd certainly want him to learn that. And if you thought he had the tools to do that, I would get it. But I don't think he's going to be a pro quarterback. So what you do is, if you want to win ball games, then say, okay, one read and then take off if it's not there. And just try to get us some positive yards every time. He's got a nice deep ball. He's got a terrible intermediate short ball. So if Alabama either goes deep or they run the ball, that's my take on it.
Well, it should be fun. Two great matchups in the SEC from the state of Alabama today, and Alabama against Ole Miss will be a great one. Luke, thank you for calling in. Have a great Saturday, buddy.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, thank you. That's Luke Robinson talking a little Alabama football. When we come back, we'll move back over, talk a little bit more about Auburn. I think Jim Hardy has some comments he'd like to throw our way too, Scott, so we'll catch up with our good friend Jim Hardy here in the next couple of segments too. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your Ariat workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. The new full-size GMC Sierra 4x4 Crew Cab discounted up to $12,000 off. The popular GMC Terrain up to $6,500 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments till 2024 at Glenn Smith GMC.
Over 250 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glenn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Scott, it's Family Affair. Welcome Lyndon on the air with us this morning to talk maybe not necessarily all high school sports up in the Birmingham market, but, some storylines that y'all been covering on Fox 6. Lyndon, glad to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here bright and early on a Saturday morning after a late Friday night for football. I mean, it's our favorite time of year, right?
Yep, and you had give us an update on where y'all were last night and what it was for.
So last night we had the Mike Sly Foundation Blue Shoe Ball, formerly known as Beyond Blue. They kind of upped the ante a little bit this year, and we wore blue shoes, and it was at Regents Field. And Mike Sly, the former SEC commissioner who had prostate cancer, passed away. It's just that they're a big fundraiser every year to raise awareness. And so a lot of people, Andy Kennedy was there, UAB basketball coach. Bruce Pearl called in. He FaceTimed in. And one of the auction items, and this is hilarious, Bruce called in to FaceTime to auction off tickets to Auburn, Kentucky this year, plus 3 hotel rooms, plus private dinner with him and Auburn President Chris Roberts, plus shoot-around, plus drinks. He just kept going and kept going, and he was even cutting out a little bit, but it was just typical Bruce, who really just, of course, couldn't stop talking, and it was an awesome event. He FaceTimed in to Michael Eaves from ESPN. He was the MC last night. So he was there last year, and he's there in the years prior. But it was just a fun time to raise money. I'll give a little Ellick City shout-out. I kind of teared up because when they were playing the testimony video, it was Jerry Newberry, who got diagnosed with prostate cancer. He's been going through radiation, battling that, but he actually found out through Bruce Pearl's Outlive game where they do testing down there. And so he got to get on there, give a really emotional testimony about how thankful he was to Auburn, to Bruce Pearl, to Mike Sly, because that's what Bruce Pearl does this game for. And that's how he detected early that he had prostate cancer.
Well, it sounds like a great event, and Bruce Pearl and so many out there just do so much to try to not only raise money for this cancer but other cancers, and just can't say enough good things. Y'all got a lot going on in Birmingham, Lyndon.
What did the auction item go for, Bruce's auction item? How much did it sell for?
Oh, Dad, I almost called you. It went for, I want to say, $7,500.
Wow.
But with 6 people, I mean, I put my paddle up, and Chad looked at me and gave me the sternest look.
I'm sure he did.
I put it back down. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is awesome. And then another cool moment. So when Andy Kennedy got up there to speak, I love the Kennedys, love their family. He was like, I wish Bruce was still on the line. They're good friends. And he was like, I want to play Auburn in a basketball game next season, and we'll do the proceeds for Mike Sly. So Bruce was already off the phone, but he extended a little challenge last night. And how fun would that be? I mean, UAB basketball has been so much fun to watch in the Kennedy era of the last couple of years. So I'm rooting for that. I'm like, that would be great.
When I was in school at Auburn, we played UAB on Friday night every year before the Auburn-Alabama game in basketball. They had Alan Ogg, remember him?
They had great teams.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 80s.
When Bartow was coaching. Yeah. And we played them on Friday night before the Iron Bowl on Saturday. And it was always a lot of fun.
Lyndon, Andy signs an extension, I think, there with UAB. He's a great coach and a great fit, and an ex-player that was a great player there. And that extension was signed this past week, wasn't it?
Yes, he signed the extension through, I want to say, the 2027-2028 season. I can pull it up really quick. But huge. I can tell you he loves UAB. He loves Birmingham. They just got that new practice facility. Last season was the first time they used it over there at UAB, which is something Andy really pushed for. So Birmingham, we do not want him to go anywhere. He's so good for the program. And he's just an electric coach. And that's why Chad, my husband, he always appreciates it. Andy gets fired up, and he knows how to fire his team up. Okay, it's through the 2028-2029 season.
Wow.
So, yeah. So he got locked in. That is good. He's excited. Now we just got to get him a nice little place on Lake Martin.
Lyndon, this past week, I don't want to go negative, but it's a storyline I know y'all covered a lot, and I'd like to hear where it is right now. The Minor Band, which I think is one of the best bands in the state, if not the country, they blew us away here at the Sportplex. And my God, don't even get me started on Homewood's band.
Right.
What I saw last night, but I'll go back over to Minor's Band. It was a tough situation, and seems like that's heavy in the storyline right now around the state, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so for those not familiar, which I'm sure people have at least heard of it, so the Minor Band director got cased in front of his band. This was last Thursday night when they were playing a game against Jackson Olin, and they were doing the which we know is called the fifth quarter, where the bands battle after the game is over, and play some songs. And this is gained, I saw, I want to say 2 mornings ago, BBC World News had it. So right now, you know, Johnny Mims is the band director who was arrested. He is spoken out. I think everyone agrees that it shouldn't have ever got to that. I know the students were, according to Johnny Mims' lawyer, a little shooken up, but it started when the lights went off and Johnny was playing the last song, and that's when Birmingham police asked him to stop playing the song. So the thing that Mims is saying, the band director who is arrested, that him and the JO band director, there was an agreement between them to each play their set amount of songs. So it wasn't like it was a free-for-all, according to Mims. But it's just one of those things. Birmingham City Schools said that those type of fifth quarter performances aren't allowed. So it's just a sad thing because there's just so much joy around high school football. And this is a sad story. The story out of Anniston, them having to cancel their homecoming stuff, was a sad story after, you know, gunshots rang out. So it's just, you know, you want everyone to enjoy the high school experience and have fun and just get to do it to their fullest. So it's really sad when, like, these types of situations happen.
Lyndon, we'll go to a positive before we let you go. You've got to go out and share Trent Seaborn up in the stands playing, I think, the sax, maybe the sax, in the stands with the Thompson High School band. That one will go viral, I expect. But he may be the best quarterback in the state.
So, yeah, Thompson, they played Chelsea last night, and Trent Seaborn, who is just the quarterback phenomenon. He got up with the Thompson band, played the saxophone, and, you know, Max Preps has already picked it up. It's all over Twitter, but it was just awesome. He's a great kid. He is so young, but just carries himself so well. Thompson got the big 45-0 win over Chelsea, so I'm sure Mark Freeman didn't care too much that Trent, you know, spent some time with the band.
Thank you, Lyndon. We appreciate it. Have a great Saturday. Tell Chad we said hello.
I will. He's already called me twice during this segment,
All right,
so I'll give him a call back.
Well, thank you for calling. We appreciate it. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All in an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today. Lake Area Realty at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. 256-234-6221 is our phone number. If you've got comments, call in. And we got our good friend Jim Hardy on the phone. He's got some comments. And, Jim, glad to have you. It's a big game. I think before the season started, many kind of highlighted this one, put a star beside it, that this may be the most important game of the year for Auburn and moving forward throughout the year.
Yeah, I think as we talked about in Tuesday night's show, this is the why in the road for Auburn. I think if you take the right arm of it and you can win, you're projecting yourself on into that 8-4 season, maybe 9-3, but probably that 8-4 area. If you take the other one, we're looking down the barrel of a 6-6 and a 7-5 season.
I think one of the questions you and I, as we were talking heading into this segment, is Auburn expected to have some great backs. And I think we do have some great backs. But when you look down at the stat total right now, you can't really point to one separating themselves from the other. So I'll throw out some of those stats. Damari Alston, 119 yards rushing. Jarquez Hunter, 90 yards rushing. Those two are your two leading rushers to go along with 140 yards from Peyton Thorne, who got most of that last week. Starting there, Auburn needs to get the running game going, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. That's always been one of the big keys to me from being an old coach, and it's always said all the time, you got to win up front. It's almost like reminiscent of what I watched last night. I watched every play of the Benjamin Russell game. That Homewood team found the center of that defensive line that we had was pretty weak, and they just ran it down Benjamin Russell's throat all night long, because once you find a weakness, that's what you work on. Well, what I say is watching the ball game today when it comes on, draw you a straight line with a pencil down your TV in your mind and watch the push that we get up front. If we're on a running play, if we're connecting and pushing some Texas A&M guys forward, we've got a chance to make some movement in there. And in the game, we should wear on and wear them down a little bit. If you start seeing them push us the other way, that's problems.
Jim, we had some offensive line injuries last week. Can you update us on anything you've heard there? Which ones are back, and anybody expected not to play?
Yeah, now that part of it, I've touched base with Kendall Simmons, one of the assistant coaches down there, and everybody right now, they don't have anybody that's completely out, but they've got a few that are question marks. They're going to kind of let them, warm up and see how they feel once they get going.
Defensive side of the ball is kind of the same deal. Hoping McLeod's back, maybe not at full speed, but back enough to probably hopefully put a little pressure off the edge today. He played really well for App State against Texas A&M last year. And then Nehemiah Pritchett. Can you give us any updates on those two?
Yeah, that was my understanding on the Pritchard side of things, that he's ready to go. They've just been letting him heal more and more. He's every game we've had so far, he's been a game-time decision, and from what I heard last week, it was his call, like if he wanted to try it or not. So I think he was being a little bit more cautious on it, and the university as well, because they realized who we were playing, not a chance to go out there and get hurt. Now, what you worry about now is because he's waited so long, there's going to be a little rust out there, and that's going to be a very important part of the game today. Is can Auburn get a pass rush with our normal 3-4 guys trying to come? Do we have to start sending linebackers, sending people that are going to put Nehemiah out there one-on-one with somebody? Do I feel that they can – we got the secondary to hold up for that? Yes, but you don't want to do that the whole game, because eventually that's why they call them 50-50 balls, because eventually 50% of it's going to go their way.
I'm old, but I was reading last night. I swear I read this last night, that Robbie Ashford may be lining up as a receiver in practice this week.
Have you heard any of that,
yeah.
Jim? Is there any?
I have not. Nobody's led on to that to me. I have not. Now it wouldn't surprise me. That'd be wonderful if they put him out there and say a slot and give him an opportunity, some bubble screens or something to use his athletic ability. Now I don't think you're fixing to see him do no 40-yard post route or flag route down the field, but I could definitely see them trying to get him in space.
Mm-hmm. Jim, you've got at least some history with both of these coaches for Texas A&M that are spotlighted with Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, and the dynamic between them two, I think, is a big storyline for Texas A&M and just the coaches, especially with their previous runs at Auburn. Just give me some of your thoughts, knowing the two of them, and how you think they'll work together, and that will be a storyline today.
Well, I've been saying it all summer long at the different shows I've come up there and done with you guys. Is I really felt like Texas A&M, because of the addition of Bobby Petrino, is very possibly on their way back up instead of down, and that's why this game today is real pivotal, because I think both of you sitting there can agree with me. If Texas A&M loses this game, I thought they start ponying up money and Jimbo's going to the house, because they're not going to allow this to happen. But if he can build off of this, get him a win today and build off it going forward and pull himself a 9-3, 10-2 kind of season, then he's set to go. And Bobby's that guy everywhere he's been calling offensive plays. He's been a wonderful mind. He's one of those that reminds me of the Spurriers, of the Hugh Freezes, of the Sarks, of those kind of guys that they can draw something up in the dirt. If they see a matchup they can exploit, like Sark is a great guy at doing that. Me and Luke talked about it the other day with the Alabama game. He saw the matchups he needed to have in that Alabama game, and he just picked them apart the entire game. So, yeah, I think the dynamic, as long as the play calling that Bobby's doing is going good, then Jimbo's got no reason to get on him. But I think if something went south, say today, we got off to an early start, and maybe he called a few plays that ended up in a turnover for them or something, then you could see a little bit of that, ruffling of the feathers. But his track record shows Bobby can call a game.
Couple more for you, Jim, before we let you go, buddy. So far, newcomers. It doesn't necessarily have to be a freshman. It can be one of the transfer ends. Players that you've been most impressed with for Auburn as some of the newcomers.
Probably the quarterback. I mean, I'll be the first one to say it. I was down on Peyton when I went to the fall scrimmages and watched him. I mean, he looked like he was out of place, looked like he was out of breath, looked like a guy that come from across the country, and like, what in the world is this 100-degree heat in Alabama?
Right.
And he has slowly built himself. As I've watched some practice and watched his game film, you're starting to see I think people put too much on him to start with, because he's only been in Hugh's offense just a couple of months, not a couple of years. So he's learning the system as he goes. Hugh puts a lot of freedom in there for him and these other quarterbacks to make decisions. But like you've seen Hugh call him out in press conferences and say, Peyton didn't make the right read right here. He threw into double coverage the other day in the Sanford game when he had a check down route right in front of him for 15 easy yards. the old saying in coaches is don't go broke taking a profit. And that right there is a prime example. If we can get him just to make the checkdowns, and Hugh's going to give him that 5-yard, 10-yard route, but he's also going to give him that other route if the safeties don't read it. But for me, number one is him. I mean, he's shown that he is you're starting to see glimpses of why Hugh went and got it.
Jim, I'm concerned with edge rushers. I'm concerned with putting pressure on the quarterback. Weigman, you look at him, he's thrown for over 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 INTs on the season. Auburn only got 2 sacks this past weekend against Samford, one coming from a defensive tackle, the other late in the football game from a stand-up linebacker in Riley. Tell me players that you're seeing on the edge that we can change things up and we're going to be able to get to the quarterback. Maybe Kaufman back today can help out also.
Yeah, that was the name I was about to spit out, was Kaufman, is I think that he adds a different dynamic as well to what's going on in that front. And you're really going to see, I don't think it's as much, because most of our guys are pretty equal across that front. I'm not saying that we got one guy that's superior pass rusher over the other one. I think you're going to see some twists and stunts going on, some different things, that Ron Roberts type defense of where he may slide one of them that you see out there on the edge. He may slide them inside and bring somebody, one of these linebackers from the outside, to present a different speed out there at times to, confuse their offense. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the kid's name now that's Texas A&M quarterback. Wigman, is that his last name?
Weigman, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watching him on film, he struggled with that. Miami brought pressure from everywhere, and I mean, they got after him in a big way. But these other games, since he's kind of played what I call lower-level competition, he's settled within himself and really had good passing games. Now, when we step the competition back up, because obviously Auburn's defense is going to be way better than these other 2 teams they've played and just dominated, can Auburn apply the pressure that Miami did to him? If they do, then it's a good thing for us. But I agree with you. The concerning factor is that defensive line. Can the defensive line, with only bringing 3 or 4, can we get home and get to him? If we can't, then it's going to be hard. It's going to be uphill for us.
Looking forward to it, Jim. It's just one of those matchups, one of those games that could set you ablaze for the season, or it could set you back and say everybody just kind of temper their expectations. So those type of games are fun, and we appreciate you calling in and breaking it down, and look forward to texting with you and keeping up with it, buddy.
All right. Talk to you later.
Right, thank you. That's Jim Hardy, War Eagle to him, and we'll go ahead and take another break. Couple more segments here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus. Making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Let Riverbank and Trust open doors for you. Whether you're purchasing land, a lot by the lake, or building or buying a home, begin with Tallapoosa County's loan experts. They'll guide you through the entire process, providing local decision-making, prompt responses, and the best real estate loan solutions for your unique needs. And in most cases, Riverbank and Trust can close your loan in 30 days or less, and they'll walk by your side every step of the way. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. We invite you to experience it for yourself.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today, Lake Area Realty, at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
I always love looking at the matchup, so this segment we're going to look at the numbers. There's not a lot of numbers to go through with only a few games into the season, but you're starting to at least tell the tale of what some of these teams can possibly do. I want to start with Texas A&M's defense. Here are the defensive stats for Texas A&M, and we've already said we feel like Auburn's got to run the football to win today, and that will be a key stat. So looking at the defensive totals, 298 yards passing against Texas A&M. That makes them 38th in the country, number 8 in the conference. What Texas A&M really does well defensively is stop the rush, though. Only 98.3 yards per game running the football. Brett said 150-plus yards needed. Jim said 150-plus yards needed. If we get that, it'll be 50 more yards a game than Texas A&M's currently giving up. That's a big stat, Scott.
It is a big stat. The one stat that sticks out to me, is turnovers. We had, what, 4 each game last few weeks, and we can't do that. But, yeah, if we run 150 yards without turning it over, we're going to be good.
Yeah, 298 total yards defensively. Really good stats for Texas A&M there. Only 98 of that coming on the ground, 200 passing yards per game allowed by Texas A&M. That's right there in the middle of the country, 51st overall. So only giving up 20.3 points per game, right there in the middle also of the pack, and number 10 in the conference. So they've given up some points. Third down conversions, 20.6%.
That's strong.
So getting off the field on third downs, that's third in the country, number 1 in the SEC. So running the football looks like it could be a struggle for Auburn. And sustaining drives, third down plays, Texas A&M's have been strong in both of those categories. So we'll watch those two. Offensively for Texas A&M, they've thrown the football really well. 337 yards per game passing. That's 11th in the country, number 4 in the SEC. They only run the football for 129 yards per game, which puts them really low, 95th nationally, number 11 in the SEC. So I like that. I like Auburn's secondary. If I've got to call a strength out on Auburn's defense, it's in the secondary. So this matchup I kind of like, Scott.
Exactly. If we can – I think if we hold them to their average of 129 yards rushing, I think we're in good shape too.
I do. I think that would be a good stat, but 330 yards passing, they're going to put some pressure on our secondary, and I'd take the pressure there over some others, but we've got to find a way. I don't care if it's dialing up blitz packages coming from the secondary with Donovan Kaufman and others, or hopefully, you'll see – some of these McLeods coming back and some other players back, and Auburn can find a way to dial up some pressure in some different ways. But finishing out offense, they're averaging 44 points per game, which is 12th in the country, number 3 in the SEC. Bobby Petrino, he's always going to put stats up there, isn't he?
He can turn it up.
He can. So 3 turnovers lost is all so far for the season for Texas A&M. So good stats, but I did watch enough of that Miami game to know that I don't think this Texas A&M squad is any kind of world beater. We'll go ahead and take one more break. This will be our last break here of the program. When we come back, we'll run down those matchups and the numbers for Auburn so far. And Scott and I'll throw a prediction out there and love to hear one from you. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
This fall, nobody beats Martin's Sports Pub for Lake Martin's best sports experience. Martin's all-star lineup of cold beverages and pub fare food can't be beat. With the region's best wings, burgers, and signature dishes. At Martin's, you always have the best seat in the house for all college and NFL on our multiple 360 view TV and huge projection screen with surround sound. See our pigskin scoreboard weekly to win big money and let our all-pro teams serve it all to you at the place we all win. Martin's, Highway 34, Dadeville. Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindawa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours. Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
A couple of more minutes left here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. A little recap, a tough loss here in Elliott City last night at homecoming as Homewood wins that game 41-21. Hoover losing again up in that region, a tough region. So if you start giving up some games, it just feels like it snowballs on you. And Hewitt-Trussville defeats Hoover last night 28-7. Those were two storylines that we kind of touched on a lot there in the first hour of the program. Moving into the second hour, we had Luke Robinson on the phone and running down what seems to be a tumultuous time around Alabama football. And Scott, any time that they're not winning games consistently by 30-plus points, we don't all know how to act anymore.
I know it. You know, we sometimes wish we had those scores.
I know we have been wishing that we have. And, you know, Alabama's got a big matchup with Ole Miss today. And many think that it'll be a high-scoring affair. Jalen Milroe, if you've watched this week, Nick Saban comes out and pretty much lets everyone know that he's our quarterback and he'll be our quarterback moving forward. And so I don't think there'll be any rotations going on there moving forward. Now, is that good, bad, in between for Alabama? Who knows? But today we're going to know a lot more about Alabama and also a lot more about Ole Miss and the SEC as a whole. Auburn, we've talked a lot about that here in the second hour of the program. They got a big-time matchup with Texas A&M on the road. Texas A&M coached by a couple of old Auburn assistant coaches, and Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino, both offensive minds. They've thrown the football all over the park in the early going, but they have lost a football game, and they let that one get away from them. So, Scott, just your thoughts on the game, maybe a prediction.
I think I predicted yesterday 28-24 Auburn. That's what I predicted.
I think anyone would be excited about that. I'm going to
keep them under the 25 points, like Jim said a while ago. Keep them under 25.
Unfortunately, I think that we're jumping the gun a little bit too much there. I don't think that we're quite to the level of where we're going to go. I love where Hugh Freeze has this program, and I think that in the years to come we're going to be in a great spot. We'll be able to go over there and win. Right now I just think there's too many question marks with this Auburn program, and can they will themselves offensively to get the yards and the points needed. I tend to think that this one's not necessarily going to go our way. If it was at home, I'd like our chances, and I know we played well on the road at Texas A&M, but I still think that A&M's a little bit too much for us maybe here in this first year for Hugh Freeze. But I sure hope I'm wrong, and I hope I'm jinxing myself, and Auburn comes out with a victory. No matter what, it's going to be a fun Saturday out there. Y'all all be safe here in the Lake Martin region. Beautiful, beautiful weather, so be safe out there and watch you some good college football.
It's truck season at AHSAA Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at AHSAA Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at AHSAA Honda, Tony Serra Ford, Serra Nissan, and Serra Chevrolet.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor wants you to know we appreciate a great year from all of East Central Alabama, and now our inventory of superior zero-turn mowers from Spartan and Mahindra Tractors is on the move. Shop Lake Martin Tractor for outstanding deals, finance rates as low as 0% and low payments. Spartan mowers as low as $84 per month. Mahindra four-wheel drive tractors and loader packages as low as $399 per month, including cutter, box blade, and 20-foot trailers. Spring into 22 at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, Highway 280 in Alexander City, or online lakemartintractor.com.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.